Hi math students, this is our introduction video for our lesson on order of operations word problems. In this lesson, you are going to be writing expressions to help represent different stories using what you learned yesterday about order of operations. To begin, I use the word expression. An expression is one group of numbers and operations in a problem. And when we say operations, remember we're talking about add, subtract, multiply, divide, those different operations we know. So our goal for today is to write one expression, to write one group of numbers and operations to represent a whole story. To give you an idea of what we're doing, I've got two stories below. This first one about Denise. I'm going to have you go ahead, pause the video, and solve this problem like you would have in past units, and then we'll talk about how we can use order of operations to help us represent this story. Go ahead, pause the video, and try this first story now. So this story tells us information about what Denise is buying at a store, and then we are trying to figure out how much change she would get back. In the past, students have solved to this problem by doing two steps. First, she's buying 3 shirts for $15 each. So the first step most students do is they say 3 shirts times $15 each means she is going to be spending $45. That's how much total money she spends. And then for our second step to figure out how much change she gets back, well, she's paying with a $50 bill. So we would want to say if she pays with a $50 bill and she is spending $45, that means she is going to get $5 back in change. And so our answer for this question is $5. Now, finding the answer is only half of what this question is all about. The focus of today's lesson is on how we can write one single expression to represent this story. Notice we did this problem in 2 steps, but I want to find a way to represent this whole story with only one math problem. When we go to write our expression, our first step, 3 times 15, that is going to be in our expression. That represents the money she spends. Now that answer of 45, that is not in our expression. You are not going to put any answers in your expression, only the math we have to do. So I've got the multiplication down. The other math we have to do is that subtraction. We said she starts with $50 and she spends $45. That 45, notice, came from this part in purple I have. So the only thing I need to write is 50 minus. That is the money she has, the $50, and she's spending 3 times 15. She's spending $45. So this right here, this is our expression, 50 minus 3 times 15. I know you all already know how to do this part here, how to find the answer of $5. The new part today is, can you write the expression? Can you write one single math problem to represent a story with multiple steps? And that's going to be the challenge today. Our expression, if it's correct, I could solve our expression using what we've learned about order of operations, about PEMDAS, and I should get that same answer we got before. So we learned with PEMDAS, we would start with our multiplication. That's our 45. And then 50 minus 45 gives us that 5. We've got one more story we're going to look at in this video, this one below, about me and Amy. Same as before, go ahead, read through this problem and try it first, and then we can talk about what that expression should look like. So in this story, we're told that Amy and I are combining our students for a class, and then we're dividing up all the students into 3 groups. So that first step we would want to do is showing that me and Amy combine our students. I have 7 students, Amy has 8 students, so that means we have a total of 15 students. After we combine our students, then we want to split the students into 3 groups. And that word split, we've learned, means division. So I would want to take the 15 students from before, and I want to divide them into our 3 groups. And if I do that, that gives me 5 students per group. Now, just like before, that word student looks a little weird, but just like before, we did that in 2 steps. The question is, how do you write that all together as one step? Well, for the first part, we wanted to add my 7 students and Amy's 8 students. So that 7 plus 8 will be in our expression. Not 15. Remember, no answers in your expression. The other part is we're taking those students, so this part right here represents our total students, and we want to divide our students into our 3 groups. And so this part here represents our groups. Now, if you write 7 plus 8 divided by 3, that is not completely correct. And to understand why, let's try solving this problem with order of operations. Now, PEMDAS says we would want to start with the division in this problem. So if I write the expression 7 plus 8 divided by 3, that means I would want to start with 8 divided by 3, which is not what we need to do. We said we want to start with doing the addition. So the way that I would need to finish my expression, and the way to show I want people to start with this, with the addition, is using parentheses. Those parentheses say first, don't do the division, first do the parentheses, do the 7 plus 8, and then after divide by 3. This right here would be our correct expression. In today's lesson, we're going to look at more stories and really focus on how do you write different expressions to represent these stories with multiple steps. Thanks so much for watching, and you are ready for today's lesson.